Greetings, I'm Craig Smyser with 1835 Realty. A lot of folks enjoy woodworking, but there's a guy in Steiner who used his passion to help turn his life around and start a successful business. We're going to visit with Leick of the Wooden Road Home on this episode of Discover Steiner Ranch. The story of the Wooden Road Home starts about the same time Zach and his family moved to Steiner in 2015.
Back about almost 6 years ago, my wife and I had decided to move to Steiner, and we were living in an apartment at the time. And I had just gotten sober. And in my time between jobs and trying to get sober, I had started trying to find stuff to do, keep my hands busy. And one of the things that I always had loved to do was to build things and to refinish things. And so I found myself finding furniture at Goodwill and finding furniture on the side of the road or whatever and refinishing it just so I'd have something to do to keep me busy. Being big fans of Fixer Upper and Chip and Joanna Gaines, we wanted to do some stuff to our house and we didn't have any money. And so I decided that I could build us barn doors. I discovered that I enjoyed the sourcing the wood and the building of it and just the doing this stuff with my hands still. And so I built these barn doors, and as things progressed, I started building more and more stuff for our house. And I discovered that, I could probably do this in my free time while watching my son when he would take a nap because he was still, less than a year old. We got our tax return and we decided we'd put him in daycare for 1 month. And that's all we had money for. So I put him in daycare for 1 month, and twice a week he'd go to daycare and I would try to work and I'd make a business of this. Before I knew it, I had a business, and it just started taking on a mind of its own. And I learned quickly that my biggest support group was Steiner. And so from day one, we've always loved Steiner. Steiner supported my business. Steiner lifted me up, and they gave me a chance. One of the things I learned is that I valued the people over the product, and so that meant if I quoted something wrong, I just did the project anyway. And that meant if I didn't have the right tool, I went and tried to find it. I tried to take care of the people as best I could, or I'd point people to somebody that could do the project. Over the past few years, in the 6-year span, the HOA politely kicked me out of my garage. And then I had to move to the back of Steiner in a 1,200 square foot, RV double garage. And I worked there for 3 or 4 years.
Zach moved into his own building in late 2020. It's located on Pheasant Lane in Lakeway, just off of 620. It gives the Wooden Road Home plenty of space for the workshop, has a clean room for epoxy work, and a dedicated office. The conference area is a great spot to meet with clients and review all aspects of design work before production begins.
Over the course of time, I've accumulated some extra slabs, so I have some inventory that people can look at. This one's going to be a table. This is a conference table. That one's going to be a river table when we cut it in half. This one over here is going to be a desk.
The Wooden Road Home specializes in tables, desks, small cabinetry, and of course, barn doors. Some of the most popular tables are epoxy river tables and live edge, but Zach can custom make just about any kind of table you want.
We pick the shapes and how we want it to look. Artistically and aesthetically, and I'll carve the edges. I'll build forms in it so that I can pour epoxy in it. So this table is actually ready to have an epoxy river poured in it. And one of the things I do that's kind of different than other people is I typically will leave it so that the last inch is clear so you can actually see down into your table, which gives it a depth and a different artistic perspective. One of the cool things about this table is this is what they call book match slabs. So when you slice a tree, they lay the log down and they slice it like this. When you open the tree up, the two slabs are what they call a book match because you open it like a book. And so you see the little bit of differences, but basically you have almost nature's mirror image. And I've learned a lot, and it's all thanks to the people in Steiner. And so I owe everything. It makes me emotional to even talk about it, but I owe everything to the people that supported me. And so here we are 5 or 6 years later, and I was able to purchase this land 3 years ago, build this building, and now I have this really custom interactive furniture store where I build custom furniture. I try to take on things that are interesting, and I try to customize them and try to ask people lots of questions and try to get a feel for what people really want and need. It's one of the things that I found when I started and in my recovery and the different things that I would do is that I like to see old things become new, and I like to see things that we were creating become beautiful, because that's kind of my story. I got a chance to start over and make my life new again, and so one of the things I enjoy most is seeing how things start to come alive as you start to finish them. Thanks to Steiner, thanks to people just investing in me and taking time to talk to me, and I have a business that is fairly successful and is growing quickly.
So if you'd like to see a custom table or some barn doors in your home, be sure to call Zach at the Wooden Road Home. I'm Craig Smyser with 1835 Realty. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Discover Steiner Ranch. And remember, when you're ready to buy or sell a home in Steiner, I'm ready to help.